But first, live on Saturday Fight Night, Hatton has to make it 36 straight wins against Vilches, the former Argentine and South American light welterweight champion. They've never seen him lose, and they're mop-handed here at the M.E.N arena all over again tonight. The hottest draw in British boxing, he remains. He continues to pull in the crowds better than anyone else, whatever the opposition. Although Hatton is growing impatient, but this is one he simply cannot afford to lose, and he cannot afford to let all the frustrations of the past few months impair his performance here in Manchester tonight. Glenn McCrory and Barry McGuigan are leading our team here tonight and looking for evidence that Hatton does belong up with the very best in what is, just to remind you again, the most competitive division anywhere in world boxing. That's for the future though. What about the test tonight? Adam Smith sets the scene for us.
Tonight, Ricky Hatton aims for 36 straight wins when he tackles the experienced Argentinian Carlos Wilfredo Vilches.
He's very, very confident, and why not? He's mixed in with some of the, top guys in the division like Shanbei Mitchell, so he should come confident. So I think his style and my style will make for an entertaining fight.
Hatton defends his WBU light welterweight title for the 13th time, but will it be unlucky? Vilches has been trying to rattle the ice-cool hitman and has had the number 22 tattooed to his head, which in Argentina means crazy.
Richard Hatton, the winner, new champion of the world, Wilfredo Vilches.
Vilches starts a big underdog, but has won 41 of 48 and looks in great condition. Meanwhile, Hatton's had a hurried preparation and may be mentally affected by the frustration to land the big fights. Yet the news that top American Paul Spadafora could be his next opponent has Hatton buzzing again.
It's them fights in the future, and looking into the future at them fights is what makes me more determined to send Wilfredo Vilches packing on Saturday night, and that's what we'll do. Again, I'll impress. I'll look like one of the best light welterweights in the division, and over the next 12 months, hopefully I'll get to the top of the pile now.
Hopefully indeed, but he looks a little anxious, a little apprehensive, Barry. Is it easy to understand why at the moment?
Yes, it is. He's sounding deflated, and he could be demotivated. And Vilches is a good, tough, honest pro. Ricky doesn't do the weight easily, and he could take advantage of a flat Ricky Hatton.
Is time running short in Hatton's career, Glenn?
I think time is running short. Also, you've got to bear in mind that he's almost been in training the whole of this year. 6 months Ricky Hatton's been in training. I think there is the danger that he could be a little bit stale. His mind might not be quite on it.
Barry, explain to us why you feel that Hatton might be the sort of fighter who is looking at a shorter career.
Well, because he fights with aggression, he fights the way I used to fight. He comes at you, he cuts easily, he doesn't do the weight easy, and eventually that takes its toll on you. You lose the elasticity and you build up scar tissue, and that's the reason why his career could be short.
Also, he's desperate to emulate the best of our fighters, the men who've made it in America, made it at the highest level. And one who did make his mark there, certainly, he ran into today. None other than Nigel Benn, the former WBC World Super Middleweight champion, here in Manchester. And Nigel took time out to meet with Ricky and surely showed the perfect path for Hatton to try to follow from here.
Nice that Nigel Benn's giving you an eye, isn't it?
Just a bit, yeah. Just a bit, I hope he don't make a comeback. It's fantastic.
You've got to keep an eye on Ricky. I think at the end of the day, we know that the top boy in England, but we want to see him fight the best, and I know he's capable of doing that, and that's what we're waiting for. That we want to see him on the WBC, IBF, WBA, and he's a top quality fighter, mate, and he has to go for that now.
So a timely boost for Hatton to meet with Nigel Benn?
Yeah, it was a very timely thing, but I think what he's saying, he needs to be in with the big names, the Constantuz, the Zab Judas, there's Miguel Cotto's coming in the frame. There's so many big names. He's not really in there. He needs them fights.
Barry, what's Hatton facing here in Manchester tonight in Carlo Wilfredo Vilches?
Well, Wilfredo Vilches is a tough, durable guy. He can be erratic, he can blow hot and cold, but if he fancies the job and if he feels that he's got a chance here, he can make it a very tough night indeed for Ricky Hatton. Also, we can't rule out the risk of cuts. If he sees Hatton's cut, he could turn on his performance and fight better. He's that type of fighter, and he is awkward.
Thank you, Barry. Also with us tonight, Nicky Piper and Johnny Nelson. Adam Smith will get their views now.
Yeah, you can hardly hear yourself think. Another cracking atmosphere for a Hatton fight. But is he on a hiding to nothing? Worried?
Well, he possibly isn't hiding to nothing, but Vilches, you know, he's got to prepare properly. I think he will. Hatton's a professional. 48 fights and he's only 27 years old. This kid is coming to fight tonight, and he shouldn't be taken lightly, that's for sure.
It's been a difficult year for Ricky Hatton, but surely he's a league above Carlos Vilches.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Ricky's got to detach himself from what he wishes was happening tonight, be totally professional, get on with the job, and dispatch this opponent in style. And then people will say, listen, we demand these big-time fights.
We wait with interest, Paul.
And so does yet another packed-out crowd here at the M.E.N Arena, in very good form. All is set now. Commentators tonight, Ian Darke and Jim Watt, and our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one we have been waiting for. Would you please welcome the challenger this evening from Santa Rosa, Argentina, Wilfredo Carlos Vilches.
And Vilches will enter the arena to another bear-pit, Hatton-like atmosphere here in Manchester. But does he look fazed by it? Not a bit of it. Vilches, when you see him up close, he looks like a character from a spaghetti western. He's one of these tough guys from Argentina. He arrives from the Pampas. He's got a useful record. He's only lost 4 times in 48 fights. But he is some way short of the very top world class, as was demonstrated when the highly touted American Charme Mitchell stopped him in 4 rounds. Can Hatton do it quicker than that, I wonder, Jim?
Well, I don't think that should be in his mind, Ian. I think that the main thing is the result here. Be nice and careful. He's rough, he's tough, he's very strong, he's not tremendously powerful, but he can inflict some damage. He's a little bit dangerous at times with his head, we're told. So Ricky just wants to concentrate, don't compete with Charme Mitchell until Charme Mitchell's on the other corner. Just get this job done properly without taking too many silly chances and keep the fans happy.
As you can see, Vilches is the shy, retiring type.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, entering the arena, the champion, Ricky, the Hitman, Hatton.
A huge reception. He sells the place out every time. It's a really great atmosphere again, Jim. Every time Hatton produces this, doesn't he?
Well, a Ricky Hatton fight is an event, that's what it is. It doesn't matter who's in the other corner. But I got the impression after Ricky boxed in April that maybe he was looking forward to a little break through the summer, but he's decided to get back into the gymnasium, get himself back in shape again. I just hope his mind is fully on the job and he is motivated.
Took a little deep breath there, the adrenaline flowing ahead of the fight. As usual, there's a lot of big talk about who he might be fighting somewhere in the future. Frankly, he's angry and frustrated that he's not fighting the big names right now, and there has been a bit of a public spat between him and his promoter Frank Warren in the build-up to this fight over that very issue, plus the rushed preparation as well. 10 weeks of training crammed into 5 weeks. Are there danger signals?
Well, there could be danger signals, but I think the problem with Ricky, an unbeaten fighter, the most exciting fighter in the country, but he's not getting the credit he wants. He's putting everything he's got into the fight game, but the people sniping at him because of the quality of opposition. But he just has to bear with this, get all of that out of his mind, and get this job done properly tonight. And hopefully, in the near future, the big fights will come along.
This is the tale of the tape tonight. Ricky Hatton is still only 25. Vilches is 2 years older.
He's a little bit taller and will have a reach advantage, Vilches. Both of them making the 10-stone limit at the first time of asking at yesterday's weigh-in. And a professional now for 7 years. He's unbeaten in 35 fights, one of the best records in world boxing now. Vilches a pro since '96 and coming up to his 50th fight in a couple of fights' time. Only lost 4 of those. Hatton the puncher here. Here's MC Michael Pass to do the introductions for you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the magnificent M.E.N. Arena here in the city of Manchester, England. Tonight, Frank Warren's Sports Network, www.frankwarren.tv, Nemonov and UTEC proudly presents this Frank Warren's 200th World Title Contest. 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the WBU's Light Welterweight Championship of the world. Welcome to you, the viewers watching live and exclusively on Sky Sports. The officials have been appointed by the World Boxing Union and the British Boxing Board of Control. Commissioner for the WBU is Mr. Bob Rogers. Timekeeper at the bell, Mr. Barry Pender from Sheffield. The 3 scoring judges at ringside this evening are all from England: Carl Rogers, Rich Thompson, and Tony Walker. Finally, when the action commences, the referee in charge of the action this evening, taking part in his 47th world title contest. A warm welcome, please, to Darrell Ribbing from South Africa. And so, people of Manchester, England, live from the M.E.N. Arena, this is World Championship Boxing! Introducing to you firstly, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black clutch shorts trimmed with yellow and purple. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 9 stones, 13.5 pounds. His record this evening consists of 48 contests, 41 wins, 24 of those wins coming by way of knockout, only 4 defeats, 2 draws, and 1 no contest. Coming to the ring this evening as the current light welterweight champion of South America, he is the challenger from Santa Rosa, Argentina, Wilfredo Vilches. And opposing him, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the sky blue shorts trimmed with silver, white, and black. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 9 stones, 13.75 pounds. He has a perfect undefeated record, standing at 35 contests, 35 wins, 26 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the proud 13th defense of his title, he is the WBU's light welterweight champion of the world from Manchester, England, Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Referee Mr. Darrell Ribbing with his final instructions, 12 rounds.
Feverish atmosphere as always on Hatton nights.
Good team fight, you're going to listen to me, okay? Shake hands. Good luck to both of you. May the best man win. Go to your corners.
Well, in the list of unbeaten boxers in the world, Paul Spadafora, unbeaten in 38, touted as Hatton's next opponent. Joe Calzaghe, Britain, 37, same as Juan Carlos Gomez, the heavyweight. Hatton and Acelino Freitas come next, unbeaten in 35. 26 stoppages as well for Hatton. Ranked in the top 10 at about number 7 in the world, and really a case here of Ricky, don't lose that number, I guess, because he doesn't want to be going backwards.
No, well, he faces a rough house tonight, a fellow who's had 48 fights in just under 8 years, so a fellow likes to keep himself busy. He's boxed twice already this year, has had plenty of notice for this fight, so you have to take this job seriously.
Round 1, 13th defence of this WBU crown for Manchester's hitman Ricky Hatton, coming off this rush preparation. And in the Manchester City blue trunks with the black trimmings, the black of Vilches, who looked super confident during all the preliminaries. Not that difficult to hit, Vilches, but fancies himself and predicts that he's going to win this in the 7th round.
Well, it looks as though Ricky wants to make an early impression. That's what he's doing. You want this fella backing up. He throws wide slashing punches, so you don't want him coming forward.
Fast start from Hatton, who's nearly always all business in the ring. 2 left hooks, and that was after the referee had said break. Darryl Riddick, the South African referee, not happy with that. How will Vilches react when he starts to feel the power? Good little left hand there from the Argentine, who's 27.
Have to be worrying up at the heads already. You can see how so many of the Vilches' fights, people have been cut.
Yeah, 4 of the last 5 have ended in disqualification, no contest, technical draw. That is a worry, and remember here, a British cuts rule applies. They won't go to the scorecards. If Hatton is cut and can't carry on, he'll lose. So that is a danger. He hasn't cut too much in recent fights. Good left hand again from Vilches. Heads clashed on the inside. Vilches just felt his forehead as they came away. There's a left to the body. Vilches shoots a glance at the referee.
I think he was claiming that was low, but it didn't look low from here. Vilches is trying to drop the pace already. He doesn't want to fight at this pace. We know Hatton can do this for 12 rounds.
Well, Hatton will carry on, making it white hot. Gets him with a great left hook to the head there. Vilches takes that one. Remember, he was stopped in 4 by Shambe Mitchell, the former world champion. Hatton here looking to underline that he is one of the top men in the world, even if he can't get fights against the top men in the world for the moment.
Well, if he wanted to make that early impression, he's certainly done it. Good sharp start. Took a couple of shots on the way in, but a good start from Hatton.
He's imposed himself straight away on Vilches. Dug in some trademark body shots. Vilches has scored with a few little left hooks of his own in this round. Now that's Hatton's opening session.
I'm not sleeping anymore! I'm not sleeping.
Finishing on the job.
Trainer Billy Graham with Mick Williamson, Bobby Rimmer, and conditioner Kerry Kays, who controls the diet of Hatton. That's important because he does blow up in weight between fights.
Well, Vilches not too happy with the tempo in the first round. He wants to slow things down. He also wants to be coming forward. Hatton has tumbled that and kept him in the back foot throughout the first round. Excellent start.
Second round. Hatton might make a little point on the world scene if he does stop Vilches quicker than Shambe Mitchell did. Not that that should be necessarily his #1 aim. He showed against Bentaki that he can box pretty beautifully at times as well. He's not just a body punch blaster.
Right.
Well, Vilches' body language suggests that he's felt the power in the first round. He's quite happy to back off. He's trying to use the ring. This is a fellow who likes to come forward, so I think he's been hurt already.
It's in with a right hand around the temple of Hatton.
Right.
Huge crowd in the M.E.N. arena as Hatton unleashes and rips home the left hook to the head this time.
Right.
There's danger in his current predicament, Hatton, while he's waiting. The old line in the song about life's what happens while you're busy making other plans. Good shots to the body from Hatton again.
Well, he's certainly taken early control. Vilches throwing wild swings. Doesn't quite know how to cope with the pace that Ricky's setting.
And I think this will be a big factor when he does move in with the top men. This is one of the big things about Hatton. He fights ferociously from first bell to last every round. 3 minutes a round. You never get a let up. Look at him here, all over Vilches, who can't find any escape tunnels.
I think Hatton feels, keep this fellow on his back foot and the job is half done, and that's how it's looking. There's no snap in Vilches' punches. He's not had a second to catch a breath yet.
Can he break the spirit of Vilches, who did shoot one or two glances at his corner, I noticed, in that opening round when Hatton landed right hand on the inside that time from Hatton. He's only been on the floor once himself. That was against Eamon McGee, but he was hurt even worse in the second of that fight and recovered.
Well, normally you'd be looking for Ricky to settle down, take his time, but we know he can box at this pace for 12 rounds, so get on with it. He's well in control at the moment.
Again, the body shot. Some like it hot, but not everybody. Will Vilches. Inside of the glove, a slap that time from Hatton with the left hand. Another right uppercut from Hatton, who's utterly dominant so far. Jab's good too, isn't it, Jim?
Everything he does is good. He took a couple of chances in the first round, took a couple of good left hooks, but he's taken really nothing this round, totally dominating. Vilches is trying to be cute, but that's not his game.
Graham, the trainer, telling Hatton, you'll get him, don't worry.
Yeah, but he's completely bullying. Hatton looks so much stronger than Vilches. We don't know what Vilches has to offer, because quite simply, Ricky Hatton hasn't allowed him even to get started. Totally dominant first couple of rounds.
Vilches tried to steal the belt off Ricky Hatton at the press conference on Thursday, but actually getting it off him in the ring is looking to be a much, much harder job. We had a feeling it would be. It's another hiding to nothing job, this, for Hatton. He just has to go about it professionally and hope the big one is next in October. Maybe Paul Spadafora, maybe Vivian Harris, the WBA champion, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Still the main danger for Hatton are heads and elbows, because this fellow is just trying to survive here, just keep out of the way of these attacks, and some of his moves are unorthodox.
He's got the reputation of being something of a crazy man, Vilches, which is why he has the number 22 cut into his hairstyle. Apparently that number means El Loco in Argentina. As Hatton here looks to turn up the heat again in that corner. Body shots, two of them, with a left hand and a right uppercut as well from Hatton.
But you can see the technique of Hatton up close. He's not allowing Vilches to get any decent punches off. He's pushing his body weight back, keeping his own elbows nice and tight. His work far superior.
Maybe just a bit more cooler and precise than earlier on in his career as well. This is a technician going to work. Heavy right hand to the head as Vilches is trapped in the corner. Comes back with a couple of left hands of his own and not really getting through with them. And Hatton picks that right uppercut, then left hook. It's a good right hand from Vilches, and left hook too, with his back to the ropes. His spirit has not been subdued yet.
Hatton taking just a little bit too long. If you're not going to get punches, let them go. Get out of there. He's staying too long without letting some punches go.
The danger for Hatton is during this big wait for the big fight, he goes off the boil and starts looking a bit flat. Not much sign of it here though. Whips in the right cross this time. That troubled Vilches, I fancy.
Yep, just a little sag on the ropes there from Vilches. Hatton so much the stronger.
He's a long way from home. There's always the question of how much of this he wants, Vilches. This time his head is knocked back twice by rapid-fire jabs. Keep the punches up. He's let a couple go in low, Vilches. Maybe by accident, maybe by design to try and do something. to break Hatton's rhythm. Again low. He's going to get a point deducted if he's not careful here. I think it is deliberate, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's just sheer panic in Vilches. He hasn't a split second to get the punches off, so some of them are going astray. Yeah, more precise work from Hatton in this round. He's looking for the target. First couple of rounds he was just blazing away, making a point, which he's done and done well. But now he's looking at the target, he's taking his time, he's cut down the work rate slightly, looking for a bit more accuracy. But this is great stuff from Ricky Hatton so far.
Vilches, who comes from the same area of Argentina, by the way, that produced Luis Firpo, who back in 1923 was involved in one of the wildest world heavyweight title fights ever against Jack Dempsey. 11 knockdowns in 3 minutes and 57 seconds.
Soon it'll be time to start stepping round.
Look at that, 20 wins inside 4 rounds for Hatton. Looks a bit older these days. He looks at least 16 now, doesn't he, Jim?
That's up right. See, he's finding the target, no problem. And you can see Vilches does not know what to do with this pace. He's never been comfortable from the first bell with the pace that Ricky's set.
He's trying to get on his bike a bit at the start of the round, Vilches, and use the jab. But he's going to have to be fast and very elusive to do that. And I don't think really that's part of his style. And Hatton's finding him ominously easy to hit. Ominous from Vilches' point of view, that is.
See, that is the key. Hatton is forcing Vilches to take tactics, to use tactics that he's not comfortable with. He does not like this. He doesn't like the pace and the power now beginning to have effect.
And the heads banging together again on the inside. A little bit of damage developing around the right eye of Vilches. You can see why cuts happen in his fights. Rips in the body shot, then the uppercut. Great repertoire from Hatton's, using the jab well tonight. How long before all this breaks down the Argentine fighter?
See, again, you can see him looking round the side for the target before he lets the punches go. It's a hectic pace, but he's controlling what he's doing, Hatton.
Used the uppercut well tonight. It's a good body shot in there from Vilches, and a right hand as well. Still a bit easy to hit it sometimes if you were being picky. Hatton just dropped the glove, and Vilches made him pay for that. You wouldn't want to be doing that against a Costa Zhu, would you? Zhu, the world #1 at this weight, though he hasn't fought for a long time. It's a great buzzing division. That right eye's worse of Vilches. He dabs away at the blood. Might be starting to obscure the vision. Doesn't need that. Oh, rip snorter to the body again from Hatton. Looks troubled, Vilches, and they're going to take him back to the corner to wipe away the blood, I think. It's a respite he needs, Jim.
Yeah, well, he doesn't quite know what to do with Hatton. Hatton is on fire tonight. I think he wants this spell out of there as soon as he can do it. Maybe he's thinking about Charles Mitchell's job, I don't know.
Now, give Hatton credit, he's caught by the right hand there again. Vilches has got quite quick hands, hasn't he? But he's not a power hitter. His record suggests he's not. Of those 41 wins, only 24 inside schedule, and a lot of them were early in his career.
But I think to be effective, Vilches has to be coming forward. Hatton has not allowed that so far.
Vilches is trying to raise the tempo and find a way into the fight, even up the rounds, because he's been under a lot of pressure from the word go. And there's another right uppercut from Hatton. He's used that shot well tonight.
Hatton still winning the round, but a little bit of success for Vilches, which he badly needs.
But it's only sporadic, and it was only for a while before normal services resumed by the hometown hero here. That right eye of Vilches, it looks all right for the moment.
Well, take the power shots again coming from Hatton. A weary walk back to the corner there from Vilches. I think that the first signs he's maybe becoming just a little bit despondent here. Didn't realise this job was going to be as hard as it is.
Frank Warren, the promoter of Hatton, complaining about the low blows of Vilches. He hasn't stopped him as fast as Charvet Mitchell. This is round 5. So won't worry Hatton too much, that, I think. Just a question of getting the job done. Oh, that's a low one from Hatton. He's giving him one back. That's really low and very hard. He'd have felt that. That surely can't be counted as a knockout. No, it's a timeout. It was a low blow, and I think that was Hatton saying, look, you keep hitting me low, you're going to get one back.
Well, it was a low blow, it was a beauty. That was bang on the spot. No question, that was a full-blooded shot. Can't argue about that one.
And that was worse than any Vilches has thrown.
Yep, I mean, I wouldn't suggest Ricky's not guilty of deliberate low punching, and everything's going his way, so I don't imagine for 1 second he watched this action broken. He was enjoying himself, he found his rhythm, so I'm sure that was purely accidental.
You don't think it was a case of the old fighter's mentality in there, that if you're going to get fouled, you foul back?
I really don't think so, because he was so much in control, he was enjoying himself. So I think it's just badly gone astray. I think maybe he intended Vilches to be maybe a couple of inches away from him when that punch landed. I don't think that's Ricky Hatton's style, so I would reckon that was accidental.
Okay, he's got 5 minutes to recover if he wants it under the rules here. I was going to say, Hatton, for a great body puncher, very rarely has problems with low blows. Not as many problems as Barry McQuicken used to have, if you remember.
Remember it well. Yep, I'm sure Ricky would rather have just kept the action going there. Maybe the heads are coming together now. Talking about low blows as well. Ricky maybe just wants to settle down a little bit here now. This fella is nothing special, there's nothing cute about him. Ricky maybe just wants to settle down and start picking his punches a little bit more. I'd hate to see the heads coming together here.
Crowd getting a bit restless. I think the referee wants it cleaned up a bit. It's becoming a bit dirty, this fight. A few things going on. But you've got to admire Vilches. He's taken a lot, and he's just starting to come back with a few things of his own, trying to find his way into the fight. He hasn't really done it yet. Crowd stamping their feet all around the arena here. Some 15,000 to 20,000 of them in here.
Well, you have to say the time is right for Ricky Hatton to start facing the best in the division. I don't know that Ricky is going to get a lot better than this. I think he's really at the peak of his powers at the moment.
Which is important that they strike while the iron's hot with him. Even if it means he does have a defeat at the top world level, he certainly deserved the opportunity to try.
I mean, last time out, Peterson lasted a lot longer than we imagined he would have done. So maybe Ricky's punches are just not landing cleanly on target. He's catching shoulders and elbows, the top of the head. Just needs to find that chin. Well, as I said, more of a stumble.
It's a good jab, good stiff jab. Vilches might have lost his balance, but seemed a bit troubled by it.
I think there's water over in the corner, and I would imagine that's the problem. They've both slipped here.
Yeah. Vilches not showing any inclination to get out of there and trying to fight with his back to the ropes. And again, the heads bang together. Hatton's got to be careful because he's cut seriously in the past and has needed some big work with a plastic surgeon. Oh, great right uppercut, Hatton. Super shot.
Well, I think Vilches deserves some credit because he's been under pressure from the opening bell. No signs he's losing heart yet, but things really going against him.
In the city centre here in Manchester, jam-packed, 41% success rate for Hatton off 287 thrown. It's great, that.
Yep, and that's the reason every round is going to Hatton. That was a beautiful uppercut there against the ropes.
Good spirit, though, from Vilches. The three most significant fights that Hatton has had have all gone to points. Ben Tacky, Vince Phillips, Eamon McGee. And maybe up at the top world level, he's not going to be a big concussive hitter, but will wear people down, and his work rate will win fights for him.
Well, I would imagine that Vilches' corner have been telling him that nobody can fight at this pace for 12 rounds. If that's the case, he's in for an unpleasant surprise because we've seen Hatton do it so often.
Good right hand from Hatton. Is he just getting a little frustrated? He might have thought that Vilches would have folded by now under this kind of heat, but he hasn't so far.
See, Vilches is usually managing just to keep the chin out of Hatton's way. He's partly blocking shots, he's taking them on the forehead. Hatton just not finding the chin.
Just not quite looking as sharp as he did early on, Hatton, and misses with 2 or 3 that time.
See, we have to say, Vilches, not a bad pro. He's got a decent jab. Hatton has taken it away from him for much of the fight so far. But it's a good, sharp-looking jab.
Well, his record suggests he's a decent pro. He does hold a win over the highly regarded Omar Weiss, also of Argentina. That was a pretty close one against an awkward opponent, but a useful win nonetheless. And he's been an Argentine champion, a South American champion, that sort of thing, without gate-crashing the top world level. Again, the right hand into the head from Hatton, whose work rate has just dropped off a little, I think.
Well, I think that's to be expected, but he's being a little bit more precise. He's just shaking his head there. I think he's annoyed that he can't pin this fellow down. I mean, we were saying earlier that he didn't have a great defence, but his evasive boxing's not bad, Vilches. You can see the experience there.
Good body shot from Hatton. Not the first time we've said that in his career, but he is involved in the big picture in a bit of tightrope walking at this stage of his career, this frustrating time while he waits to get the men that matter into the ring with him. Long way ahead in this fight already, winning everything.
And defences is still good, thankfully. Vilches is just finding that little split second now to get some punches of his own off. So certainly the pace has dropped slightly.
Then he tries to find the uppercut, but Vilches fiddling his way through things and coming back with the odd thing himself. Just gone a bit flat here for me, Hatton.
I think the big problem is the fact that Vilches is just surviving now. He's not taking any chances himself, so Hatton finding it difficult to get to the target.
Adam Smith has some guests for us to meet at ringside.
And yeah, Johnny, he's winning the rounds, Ricky Hatton. Is he impressing? Is he starting to look a bit flat?
He's doing what Ricky does. He started off really well. He kept the pressure on him, but he's starting to get caught by his big loop of right hands over the top. He may be a little too eager to get Vilches out of the way.
Vilches has been tough in some of the old tricks, but a low blow from Hatton too.
Been bad referee. First 3 rounds he caught Hatton with so many low blows. Hatton did it back to him, of course, but I think that's affected Hatton's concentration. He's looked a little bit flat, as you say, the last 2 rounds. Been caught with more shots. The pace has dropped too. I hope he's not tiring.
Do you think he'll wear him down now in the later rounds, Hatton?
Oh, definitely. Vilches' desire started to disappear. Now he's surviving, he's messing him around. He'll throw the odd crazy shot out to hopefully catch Ricky, but Ricky's doing what Ricky has to do, walk straight through him.
Showed some heart though, hasn't he, Vilches? Ian?
He certainly has, Adam. Thank you very much indeed. It would be inhuman, really, if Hatton wasn't affected by all the stuff that's been going on in the build-up to this fight, this war of words we've had in the paper between him and Frank Warren, his promoter. Just a sign of his frustration that he went public, saying, I want the big fights and I expect them to be delivered now.
You know, I'm just thinking, Ricky's winning all the rounds by a mile, and we're sitting here asking ourselves, is he becoming a little bit flat?
Yeah.
If this is Ricky Hatton flat, then I wouldn't mind being flat myself. He's still in total control, still pouring the punches, maybe just been a bit more precise than he was earlier, and still setting the pace.
To some extent, he's a victim of how excellent he's been through his career. We expect so many fireworks from him.
I'd maybe like to see him step back a little bit. He's just a little bit close to Vilches at the moment. Maybe step back, give him some room to get leverage into the punches.
Vilches is talking to him on the inside there. Don't know what he's saying because he doesn't speak English. Is he doing the old Muhammad Ali? He told me he was going to do rope-a-dope for this fight. I think he was almost trying to do it there. Does he say, is that all you got? You remember how Ali was supposed to have said that to Foreman?
Well, I think he realises this is a fight he's not going to win, so the only pleasure he's going to get is frustrating and annoying Ricky Hatton. That's what he's trying to do now, try and maybe draw him into a silly mistake. But I think Ricky's picked up too much experience to fall for that one.
I thought he was joking when he said he was going to try those tactics of the famous rumble in the jungle, but for a few seconds there, that's exactly what he was doing. Hanging around on the ropes, covering up, and he catches Hatton with a good left hook on the way in there. I think this is becoming a bit frustrating for Hatton, this one. I think he just wants it out the way.
See, Vilches is a real good pro. He knows all the defensive tricks. It's so difficult to catch him cleanly on the chin. And it looks as though he can take them all night long in the head. He's the one finding the target at the moment, his clean shots. Ricky's still well outworking him to be winning the round, but his own defence is maybe a little bit leaky a couple of times here.
Yeah, I think this is difficult mentally. That right hand seemed to move Vilches, because win, and everybody expects it, lose in some way, and everybody says, I told you so, he was overhyped and all that kind of thing, which is very unfair, of course, but that's where he is, isn't he, in the big picture?
Yeah, that is the big problem. But I'm thinking here, there's no signs that he's really broken Vilches' heart yet.
Yeah, I didn't think it would go this long, I must say, looking at the early rounds.
Well, the fact that Vilches is a real good pro and he's not taking the full-blooded shots on the chin. He's blocking them, he's slipping them, taking them in the head. But Ricky must not become frustrated. Everything's going well, no problems, don't cause any.
Quite the accuracy there in that Hatton attack.
See, the problem is when the other fellow's just looking to survive, it's difficult to look good, but for me, Hatton is managing it.
And that was the round, by the way, that Vilches said he was going to win in. No sign of it.
Okay, we can't punch ourselves out, you know what I'm saying? You've won every single round big, do you know what I mean? You don't have to be honest to win all the time, I mean? Sometimes through the rest we need to do cheap, mate. I know you don't, but you got to keep you've got to keep it. You've won every round, I know that. We knew this, yeah? But now you've got to go through it, yeah?
What was he saying there in the corner?
He said, I'm not feeling too great. He said, I wonder if there's been some sort of problem. He's coughing, he's trying to bring some phlegm up there. I wonder maybe if he's been suffering from a head cold. The good news is he's won every one of the 7 rounds, so don't drop the pace.
Well, they have had to cut a few corners, as I was saying earlier. He likes 10 weeks to prepare. He's only had 5. Billy Graham, the trainer, was saying, I'm never, ever going to do this again. So, I don't know. There's always a few red lights flashing when you hear that kind of thing. I mean, he may not pay for it tonight.
But what you don't want to do, if you think maybe you're struggling, you're not feeling at your best, and this fight might go the distance, don't drop the pace now. Get another couple of rounds in the bank so the points can't turn against you, because if he drops the pace now, thinking about the last couple of rounds, then he'll let this fellow back into the fight, and he'll only exaggerate his problems. So he wants another couple of rounds in the bank. Then if he's not at his best, then just coast the rest of the way.
So you've heard that Hatton isn't feeling that good in there. Overheard in the corner between the rounds. Now, I wonder why that would be. I'm not sure the concentration is quite there in the way it's been in some of his previous fights. That's a nice jab, though. As Jim says, if he can do this, win every round, even when he's not quite at his best, well, that's probably a very good sign.
Well, this is good stuff. This is good controlled boxing from Hatton. He's picking the shots at long range. He's standing off that little bit further, which I was hoping he would do in the previous round, giving himself room to punch.
That looked low again from Vilches. Now, is he going to get a point deducted? It's about time, isn't it?
Well, the last warning looked like a final warning to me, so...
Obviously a very tolerant referee, because he's got away with quite a few of those tonight, as Carlos Wilfredo Vilches from Santa Rosa La Pampa in Argentina. This is better from Hatton, just starting to lift it again and find the snap in the body shots, which has just disappeared over the last couple of rounds.
Well, that's also the good plan. If you're not at your best, then nice and steady the first minute and a half, put the pedal down the last minute, give him something to remember when you send him back to his corner.
See, we don't know how much he's suffering in there, do we, at the moment? He might be feeling pretty rotten, but still having to go to work.
I think maybe he knows he's not firing in all cylinders, but honestly, if I hadn't heard him say that, I wouldn't have spotted any problem, because everything is still under control. He's still looking good.
Good left hook. Good shot at the end of that rally. More blood from the eye of Vilches. He's had a problem with the right eye now for a few rounds. Again, their heads gouging together on the inside. Hatton's eyes and face have stood up well in recent fights after some very bad problems early in his career, notably against Vince Phillips and Jonathan Thaxton in a British title fight. This is it from Hatton. Up he goes. Listen to the crowd respond to that, and he can feed off that, I think, Hatton. He needs that crowd tonight to be right up there with him and lifting him a bit. Now, gone a bit quiet, in all honesty.
I thought he picked the punches beautifully in that round. It wasn't the same as all the previous rounds, but he picked them beautifully.
Hasn't lost a round yet, I think, Hatton. Good durability, though, and spirit from Vilches.
Yep, full credit to him. He's earning his money.
Low blow coming up, Jim.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe it was time a point was deducted there. I know the points, we're not too worried about points. Ricky Hatton's won every round, but I think he should have been punished for that.
Joe Cortez would have deducted one by now. No warning man he is, apparently.
Yeah, exactly, that's what happened last week. But I like the way Ricky was picking the punches. See, not getting involved too much, just standing off that little, but giving himself room to punch, which you have to do with guys like this. If you get too close, it's impossible to pin them down. That wasn't the hottest round of the fight, but I was impressed with Ricky Hatton there. We saw something different.
Round 9, and a right hand just unsettles Vilches right at the start of the round from Hatton, who suddenly looks as if he wants to get a bit more serious again. There's those uppercuts. But Vilches just won't go away. He's got a lot of pride about him. He's one of those fighters who seems to just relish the occasion. You do find these with this the Latin fighters, and there's a good tradition of Argentine fighters at light welterweight. Remember people like Juan Martin Coggi, Nicolino Locha, and Ubaldo Sacco, who are all champions in the modern era at light welterweight. Vilches is not in their league, it has to be said.
He still seems to have a fair amount still left in the tank, Vilches, considering he's been under extreme pressure all the way through. Certainly in good shape. As I said, he's boxed twice already this year and had plenty of notice for this one.
Vilches comes back with a body shot of his own, but he's been outworked the whole way by Hatton. But we make the point again, it really is time now to step him up with the big boys in this division. The Zeus, the Charvet Mitchells, Arturo Gatti. Not Floyd Mayweather perhaps at the moment, because he's a bit of a special case. Super talent. But people, Viv Harris, those guys.
Yeah, definitely, because as I said earlier, I think we're seeing the best of Hatton at the moment. And I think it would bring more out of him against a fighter who was making it competitive. This guy's a nightmare because he knows he's winning nothing, he's just making it awkward for Hatton. More competitive fight, Ricky would get his punches on better.
Well, it's significant to me that, given the biggest test of his career against Ben Taki, he produced easily his best performance.
That's right, he was posed a few problems tonight. Also against Eamon McGee, he posed a couple of problems. I think the trouble for Ricky, he's not had enough of those fights. And sometimes you can get into bad habits, you develop bad habits that you can't shake when you're in with the big boys. But no sign of that, thankfully.
Just working away steadily, Hatton. Has he settled maybe for winning this on points if he has to?
Well, there were no signs that he's about to force a stoppage. He's landed some good shots, hasn't really shaken this fellow up. So as we said earlier, the result here is the main thing.
Crowd crowd remain quiet. They've grown so used to seeing Hatton take people out in about 4 rounds, but they do have to understand that the better fighters will take him longer distances. Hatton is winning every round. Let's join Adam Smith again.
Yeah, absolutely, winning every round, but we thought it'd be over a long time ago, didn't we?
It looks to me as though he put everything into beating Charlemagne Mitchell's 4-round stoppage of this guy, you know, and when it didn't happen on the low blows, he got a bit despondent and lost concentration. He looks to be tiring, and whether that's a mental thing, we don't know, or a physical thing. You know, it's unlike Ricky Hatton to tire this badly.
And he said in the corner he doesn't feel great. Why?
Maybe because he's had to squeeze it into 5 weeks preparation for this fight. And remember, he's getting hit with a lot of low shots. And, you know, he'd be better off wearing 2 cups or something like that, because that sort of thing, it breaks your concentration, it breaks your focus, it breaks what you want to try and do.
Is he settling for the points win, do you believe? He just wants to get this out of the way?
I think he'd love to stop him in this fight, but I think it could be a points victory, yes.
Might have to settle for that, Ian.
Yeah, starts to look that way, doesn't it? Because he's had plenty go the full distance lately.
Well, I've got to say, and I'm still pretty impressed with the work that Ricky's doing tonight. This guy is exceptionally tough, and Ricky has dominated him from start to finish.
10th round. But he was floored 3 times by Charlemagne Mitchell and stopped in 4. Right hand again, gets in from Hatton. I don't know, I disagree with you a little bit, Jim. I think he has looked a bit flat. I think everything in the build-up to this fight, one thing and another, has just reflected a bit in the performance.
I'll grant you that the snap is not in the punches as the fight's progressed, but technique-wise, he hasn't been doing anything silly, he hasn't become frustrated, he's stuck with the job. And he's obviously not at his best physically. When have you ever heard Ricky Hatton complaining in a corner? I don't think I've ever heard that.
He's a thorough-going, rounded pro now, Hatton. This is round 10. It was 3 rounds ago. He said in the corner that he didn't feel that great, so he just might be fighting through the pain or discomfort of whatever it is. The post-fight interview might be interesting in revealing here. But the impression is that this has been a frustrating, hard night's work for him, but nonetheless, he has been absolutely dominant.
I think as far as the crowd are concerned, I think every round it's a little bit repetitious. There's been no drama in the fight. We haven't seen any knockdowns. I think that's what's missing as far as the crowd's concerned. I think they've even settled down to they're going to be seeing this all the way to the end.
Good defence from Vilches, just parrying blows with his gloves over in that corner. They'll be very happy with the way his face is held up in this kind of fight. Now there goes Hatton with the trademark shots, the old rib crunches with the left hand. But I think you'd see something much, much more electric from him faced with one of the top guys in the world. And let's hope it is October. It has to be a big one next, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Ricky himself is getting a little bit fed up. I think the criticism that he's having to endure is stinging him a little bit. He wants to be remembered as a real world champion, so they have to move him on.
Sticking his head in a bit, Hatton in there. If he's prepared to rough it up with Vilches, if the Argentine wants it that way. Just keep his eyes away from trouble, though. Doesn't want to be picking up a cut, which could mean a lengthy absence. Good. Hooks again to the body, but Vilches will not crumble. Again a low blow. There's no good keep telling him. He's got to deduct a point.
Yeah, there it goes.
No. Did he? Well, okay.
No, I think that was just a nod to his corner. I think he just nodded to the corner. Another final warning was that.
Wasn't totally clear whether he deducted a point or not. I don't think he did, actually. But we'll try and check that. If he did, he didn't make it very clear.
I think he just nodded to Vilches' corner, but not good refereeing, I'm afraid.
Listen, don't start thinking like that. That's this. You've got 6 minutes and you just fucking keep your head on. Yeah? You knew what it's going to be. Now you're a mile in front. Only something stupid going to make you fucking lose this fight. And if you get despondent, you'll get fucking lazy and you'll get nailed. Yeah?
You see, he is frustrated. There's something wrong in that corner tonight. They're worried a bit, you know.
There's the low blow again, Ian. Yep, that will deserve a point deduction. But there's definitely something wrong with Ricky Hatton. When do you ever hear him complaining? He's feeling sorry for himself in there.
This is all a bit of a worry, isn't it? You've never seen any of this before.
Well, I wonder maybe, I mean, the pace he set a pace as though this is a man at the top of his game. Maybe he doesn't have the condition to back up the pace that he's setting.
Good right hand. One other point I would make is that Hatton has made a bit of a habit, and a lot of people have told him about this, of blowing up his weight much too much between fights. And I know he had to lose a lot quickly before they could get on with the training here. And I reckon he'd do well to read the Bernard Hopkins mantra, the long-reigning world middleweight champion, about how to stay in top condition. He can't keep doing that. It's going to cost him one day.
Yeah,
you know?
we saw him a few weeks ago working in his brother Matthew's corner, and he certainly looked well over the 10-stone limit, well over it, maybe a stone and a half over it.
Well,
so maybe that is the problem.
Yeah, maybe it's the few chickens coming home to roost here. Maybe he'll get away with it here, though. He's long way in points. Vilches needs a knockout, in fact, to win. It's that one-sided. But the story really here has been what has been going on in that Hatton corner. Billy Graham's a bit worried and had to give a pep talk to Hatton for the very first time, I think, in his career. I've never heard Billy Graham have to talk to Ricky Hatton like that.
You know, I think the alarming thing, Ian, the corner didn't seem too surprised when they heard the complaints. It's as though maybe they were halfway expecting this not to be his best performance. Maybe they really feel that he's not had enough time to get himself into the proper shape. I don't know.
Well, it can't be allowed to happen again, this kind of rush preparation. I don't think Hatton ever wanted to fight this month at all. His hands had blown up and after the last fight and were very swollen. I think he's going through the motions. Another lowish one, I think, on the inside there, and Hatton winced. He just wants this over now. They want to get out of there with a W against the name.
Well, he's showing another necessary quality, gritting his teeth and getting on with things when he's not feeling at his best. Still dominating.
This is the hardest night he's had since Eamon McGee when he was down. Now here comes the point deduction this time, I think. Yeah. Is it going to be? No.
Yep, he said 1 point.
He said 1 point.
He did say 1 point, but he didn't go around the three judges, which you're supposed to do to make it clear. So maybe he took the point before as well.
Well, it's pathetic refereeing, frankly. He's got to show the whole crowd and the judges that he's deducted a point, otherwise they don't know. It's no good just mouthing it, is it? I'm sorry to get on my high horse about that, Jim. But
no, it's a fair comment. I mean, the judges, you have to make it clear to the judges, even if they don't make it clear to us.
Apologies for the rant, but you know what I mean. Hatton did have a problem early in his career too with a guy called Quiroz in America when he could hardly see, he said, and he was getting hurt. And he won the fight, came back to win the fight, but he said that was the worst crisis he ever had. I think tonight it's not been exactly a crisis, but I think a lot's wrong with him. He doesn't feel right in there, and he's having to just somehow tough this out.
See, when you're not in the best of shape and you start forcing the pace, you can start feeling a kind of sickness in your stomach. I don't know if that's what's wrong. I saw he was trying to bring some phlegm up in between a couple of the early rounds, but you can see, unbelievable.
Nearly 3 times as many punches landed by Ricky Hatton. There's only 3 minutes to go. It's a despondent Ricky Hatton. I think he's just fed up with the whole situation at the moment.
Exactly. He just wants out of there. Here we'll see the point deducted. You see him saying 1 point.
Yeah, but it's not apparently. We just checked with the WBU. They say no point has been deducted at all. Well, look, he's saying, is he saying I'm going to deduct a point in a minute?
Is that yet another final warning? I don't believe it.
It's over now. Just come on, it's smart. Come on, it's safe.
Yeah, well, not a hard fight to score this one, is it?
No. That's how everybody's got it, of course. Last round, Hatton touches gloves, but he's got a troubled look about him. Let's keep it clean, says less than impressive referee Darryl Ribbink. And quite a rough fight as well, heads banging together, a few low blows thrown in. But I don't know, they'll worry a bit. They'll look at this fight. Can you just write it all off as a rush preparation, maybe lost weight too quickly, the fact that he's in a kind of no man's land, or is he just going off the boil a bit in his career at this point?
Yeah, well, maybe that too, maybe the fact that he really does need a challenge. I mean, it must be frustrating giving the game everything you've got, but you don't receive the praise because of the standard of most of the opposition. maybe he's becoming frustrated. The time is right to start moving him on to some of the big matches.
I think the danger for Frank Warren, and Warren appreciates how difficult it is to make these big fights. It's not easy. Let nobody pretend it is. But the danger for Frank Warren is that if he doesn't deliver those fights, Ricky Hatton might go to somebody who will.
Yeah, well, it seems that Ricky himself is really annoyed. He wants the big fights. They've been talking now for at least 18 months about the big fights, but they're not happening.
It's another final warning, Jim.
He's threatening to disqualify him. He's not taking points, Ian. He's threatening to disqualify him. I think he's telling him one more and he's out of there. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, he's not applying the rules correctly, is he?
This is nonsense. This is terrible refereeing.
He should have had a couple of points deducted by now. Better from Hatton, lifts the crowd again and holding on the inside. And Hatton's pretty fed up with Vilches' tactics on the inside as it gets dirty, and all the frustration is coming to the surface, and that has been the story of this fight for Hatton. This is something different. People have been used to fireworks. I tell you what, he's lucky in a way tonight that he's not in with somebody a bit more dangerous who might have made him pay a much heavier price.
Yep, someone who can come back at him, but I mean, I thought in the first 6 rounds he looked superb. Okay, maybe he's off the boil a little bit in the second half of the fight. His punches don't have the snap we expect to see. But this guy is amazingly tough.
You couldn't see Vilches lasting 12 rounds in those first 3 or 4 when Hatton started sharp. That's not a knockdown, that's just a slip by this tough Argentinian who's tired now. But he's taken everything Hatton has to offer. I have to say this hasn't been one of Hatton's great nights. There's no way of disguising it, and of course we've been among his best fans. That's better, that's more what we've been used to seeing.
Yeah, well, when Ricky's judged by his own standards, obviously some questions are going to be asked about tonight. Certainly not his best, but a complete shutout, not bad for a bad night, if you like.
Don't think the concentration's been there either. Distracted look about Hatton. It is all over. It will go to the scorecards. It's a formality of a decision. Hatton will take his record to 36-0. There are 1 or 2 boos around the arena. What on earth is that about?
I think they're booing the Argentinian. I think he's going around raising his arms in the air. It's not Ricky that they're booing. I think they're quite happy that their hero has won. But this fella's inciting the crowd now. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's probably justified then, because there's no way Vilches has won the fight. That is quite beyond dispute.
I think he's probably saying to the crowd, I've gone the distance, okay, how do you like that? I think that's what he's doing.
Well, as you said, if he can be that much off the boil as he was in the last 2/3, I'd say, of the fight, and still win this big, that's not an altogether bad sign. But there's an audition for a fight with somebody like Spadafora, who's never lost in 38 fights, maybe next, or somebody like Vivian Harris. Maybe a little bit worrying. Not the performance you'd want in the one before the big one.
But I think he'll definitely do the job properly. I think that the fact that maybe if he's pulled the weight down too drastically, that would account for that little bit of strength missing.
120-108 we score it, then we. Vilches lifts Hatton on high. Crowd like that a little bit better. He gets a pat from Hatton, who's just glad to get the whole thing out of the way. There are 1 or 2 tough questions, I think, to be asked in the wake of this fight.
Well, maybe in the post-fight interview we'll maybe hear what the problem was. But the corner didn't seem totally surprised that Ricky wasn't at his best. So I wonder if it's something they were halfway expecting before the fight started. I don't know.
Well, I think what you've got to say is he's kind of got away with it a bit tonight. We know he had problems. We don't exactly know what they were. We know he was getting despondent in the corner. But he's won, and he's still unbeaten, and he looks quite relieved about that.
Yeah, well, he's gotten away with it, but I think we can say he's gotten away with it by a mile. I mean, total 12 rounds of domination.
We await the confirmation from the judges, but that is a formality, even in these controversial times. Here we go now.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the scorecards. Judge Carl Rogers scores the contest 119 to 108. Judge Reg Thompson scores the contest 120 to 107. And Judge Tony Walker scores the contest 119 to 108 for the winner by unanimous decision. And still, the WBU's like welterweight champion of the world from Manchester, Ricky the Hitman Hatton.
Well, that's interesting. One of the judges must have deducted a point for a low blow to score it 120-107. Doesn't much matter. It's a landslide win for Hatton. The other two gave Vilches a share of 1 round. That was all. Everything else to Ricky Hatton.
Ricky the Hitman Hatton.
So will it be onward and upward from here for Hatton? We'll try to get a word with him in just a moment or two on that very subject. And lots more action to come here in Manchester. The main man in these parts at middleweight, Anthony Farnell, up against Eugenio Monteiro, the Portuguese, now based here himself and looking to establish himself in Manchester at Farnell's expense. Barry, your overall thoughts on that performance tonight from Ricky Hatton?
I'm not surprised at all. I didn't expect him to be sharp the whole way through. He boxed great. If he can win like that when he's feeling flat, by God, he's going to be very impressive when he's in good form.
Glenn?
Well, I think it's obviously he's been in training far too long. He's flat. He needs something. He needs a bit of time off, and then he needs a challenge.
He's ready to speak to us now.
36-0, a fairly comfortable win for Ricky Hatton, but did you feel flat in there?
To be honest, you know, I felt really comfortable. Never once all the way through did I feel like, you know, not in control or losing my grip. I just felt really flat and tired. I don't know, I think, you know, I had damaged hand trouble after the Pedersen fight for 3 weeks, so really, you know, I only had 5 weeks to prepare for this. And
was it all a bit of a rush? That the problem?
Well, I mean, let's just say it was under par performance. You know, I don't want to be one of these that start saying my hand was bad, this was bad, that was bad. I just think I think I won reasonably comfortable. You know, I did as I pleased, but you know, felt, you know, well below par. And I think the reason for that was maybe slightly close.
And you've aired your frustrations in public recently about not getting the big names. You thought Kelson Pinto last time, Shambe Mitchell this one. You need someone now, don't you?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, I wanted to put on, you know, a slightly better performance than I did tonight, you know, to keep proving that I am one in the top, you know, the top light welterweights in the division. But it just wasn't there tonight. But to be honest, I did that with relatively ease. You know, I think if you could see by my expression in the ring, you know, it was frustration, and you know, felt really in control. Just couldn't get that kick, you know, that burst. You know, I didn't feel as strong as usual. And I think the reason was that I had to cram it in and all a little bit quickly, you know.
Frank Warren, the talk is October, possibly Paul Spadafore or Vivian Harris. Does he need a challenge, and can you deliver it?
Yeah, we can deliver it, and he's had challenges. I don't know, I mean, you know, all this doing him down, talking about the opponent, the type of opponents he fights, it's totally out of order and it's unfair. You know, Ricky's fought some decent guys, and I thought tonight, I think even there he's doing himself a disservice. You know, he called that guy, I thought it was a legitimate shot, and I thought the referee started counting, and then the amount of low blows that he got caught with during the fight, I think the referee lost total control of the fight at times, and you know, he's one of the poorest referees I've seen. But he'll get the big fights, and he will have a big fight in October, and he's already had big fights in the past.
Sure he has, yes he has, but are we going to get Paul Spadafore at October?
You're going to get Paul Spadafore or Vivian Harris. You know, we've told you that, and next week I hope that one of those will be in place.
And if that's not delivered, Ricky, will you start to think about other options?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
what are other options? Explain to me, what do you mean, other options?
Well, I'm just saying if you can't get the big fights, because he's wanted them.
What do you mean by we want them? I'll tell you what to do. You go to your bosses at Sky and ask them to pull up the money that we need to make the fights, and we'll make them, Adam.
Sure.
Okay? So don't tell me about other options. There aren't any other options. What we're looking for at the moment is to make the big fights, and you're just creating controversy out of nothing.
Not controversy, but you're the promoter, and I'm sure Ricky wants these fights
now. And Sky buy the fights. And if Sky want the real big fights, then you've got to come up with more money from them. What we're doing is trying to do it. We have no American TV tonight, and we need American TV to make them work.
Will there be American TV October?
If he's got the big fight, there will be, and that's what we're working on to do. So we don't need the silly controversy that you're trying to cause.
I'm not trying to cause controversy. I just wondered, Ricky, if you think you're going a bit stale and you're desperate for that challenge and really want it to happen no matter what.
Well, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I want the challenge. I mean, I've said, lately that, I want the challenges, and Frank said that he's got, he's going to get Paul Spadafora and Vivian Harris, and there's no reason for me to think otherwise. Hopefully that'll be the fight that will be made in October. I mean, I don't have many off nights, but tonight I was a bit below par. I think I normally like to give myself at least 10 weeks to get ready for the fight, and because of my hand injuries after the last one, I had to cram it all into 5 weeks, and I think that was why I was a little bit flat. But I don't often have too many bad nights, but mark one down there tonight, a little bit below average.
You're still unbeaten. We still watch with interest. Well done, Ricky.
Strange showing wherever you look, I think that's fair to say, but for now, they remain on course, promoter and fighter. Lots still to come, reaction to this Hatton performance, and more action featuring Anthony Farnell and Eugenio Montero at middleweight. Well, here tonight, it wasn't the fight that he wanted, the preparation wasn't right, and maybe Ricky Hatton was stale, but it is about winning when it turns into a hard night, and he said it was a hard night. Glenn, he also said that there was nothing extra when he wanted it. Can you understand that or explain that to us?
Well, I think during a fight you always look for that. You get the first few rounds and then you just start to hit the groove, get right there, and everything starts clicking in, and that didn't happen. He started very well, he moved on for the first 4 rounds, and then he couldn't lift it. He couldn't lift it anymore. When he asked himself, there was nothing.
Jim? And that's understandable. That's totally understandable. He is flat. We talked about it beforehand, the possibility that he would be flat. As this guy put up a resistance in the early rounds, that he would find it difficult to turn it on in the second half. That's no surprise at all. He just wasn't able to do it. As I said, the beginning was perfect. Walking up close to his opponent, typical Ricky Hatton, chopping that left hook in.
And in commentary, Barry, Jim said this is a fighter at the peak of his powers. Did you see it that way too?
Looked really good, looked sharp, but was only able to hit Vilches really clean with shots. Working around the body, I thought Vilches was very good on the inside, protecting and blocking very well, and getting his hands down. He's obviously using that experience to block those shots up close. And threw his own good shots from time to time, tried to diffuse what Ricky was doing. But the jab was good, the left hook was good, the right hand was a bit choppy, didn't turn his weight over enough.
It looked at this point that he was going to get the stoppage. Everything was going well. It was just round about the 5th round that he seemed to go a little bit flat. When he asked something of himself, there was nothing there. And then I think a little bit of even negativity starts coming into his boxing. I think mentally when that starts happening, it gets very hard.
I never thought, Paul, that he would actually stop him. It never looked at, I remember saying to you at one stage, he's not hitting him hard enough, he's not hitting him clean enough to actually stop him. It never looked like to me he was actually going to wipe him out, because he never cut him with a clean shot.
How difficult is it, when, no disrespect to your own career, it was a feature of your own career, that there are low blows disrupting your rhythm?
Yeah.
Can he just tip you over the edge mentally?
Of course, exactly the same. I had the same problem with Sham Shatuli. I had the same problem with Daniel Cabrera in my second world title defence. Struggled into the 14th round, and this is the sort of fight you've got to pull yourself through. It's not going to be sweetness and hunky-dory every time. You've got to grit your teeth. And he was complaining in the corner.
And Billy Graham had to work quite hard on him. We've never heard that before.
We've never heard that from Billy. But I think the real quality is the fact that when you have a bad night and you can pull through and you can come through with a good win, that's quality. And I think, if anything, what we can get positively from this performance was that.
Yeah, absolutely. What I liked about him was, if that is an off night, he won every single round. And look at those hands are back in the ice bucket again. So obviously, endless trouble with that left hook. It would be great if Ricky could take a long rest and watch his weight and stay off the soup and keep his weight down.
Yep, I wish you my career had a few more bad nights, I think.
The world rankings, this is where Ricky Hatton's focus will be from here, and even Frank Warren agrees with that. And Mr. Warren has told us Vivian Harris, nominally the WBA world champion, ranked just above Ricky right now at number 6, or Paul Spadafora, the former undefeated world lightweight champion. Those are the two that they've got in mind, Glenn.
Well, they're the perfect fights for him. They're where I think he wants to be. He wants to be in with those opponents now, and I think he maybe felt a couple of fights ago he should have been in with that type of opponent. If anything, that's what's just making him a little bit low.
We prefer Harris. We prefer Harris and Spadafora. For me, Spadafora is a former lightweight champion. Ricky will roll over the top of him. We prefer Harris, and for the WBA title, quite honestly.
Johnny Nelson and Nicky Piper with Adam Smith.
Yes, it was a different sort of performance. How can we assess Ricky tonight?
It was difficult. It wasn't weight trouble. He made 5 check weigh-ins every week for the last 5 weeks, so that was not the excuse. mentally flat. I think his concentration was affected by the low blows. He started well and just faded, and certainly very tired.
We all hope for Paul Spadafora or Vivian Harris if it happens. That's what he need.
Ricky definitely needs it. As a champion, to fight kids that you don't fear, that have got nothing there to offer, it's hard to get up for it. And that is what we saw tonight. That is the result of what we saw tonight.
Will you go home learning anything different?
I think so. Well, yes. I mean, he's had 12 rounds under his belt. He was quite professional towards the end there. He was tiring, but he handled it well. His concentration was recovered. His defence was quite good, and he finished quite strongly in the end, so it wasn't a bad performance.
And he remains unbeaten, Paul.
When we come back, a Manchester fighter who has known defeat, but who has come back and shown great spirit to get his career back on track, Anthony Farnell. But this looks a tough one against Eugenio Montero.